Hi everybody and welcome my friends to the show that never ends, or to put it another way, Dobro Prezolat, my druza na shu katro no ze ze. And that is Russian, by the way, and that could be who Wales meet in the next round. A very good chance that could be Wales. Right, we'll start with, if you're confused, which we were, we've just had a debate about it.
No, you were confused.
I was confused. I know all the people that listen to this are baffled how it could possibly be me that is the one that is confused. On how this works, on who they work out comes second, third and fourth, and then who they play and which teams get knocked out and which ones don't, and if you've got all six of them with 4 points, how they start figuring it out. This is it. Okay, this makes it nice, clear and simple. In the groups, they look at points. If points are the same, they then look at goal difference. After goal difference, it goes to goals scored. After goals scored, if you've reached all of those that are equal, then you apply that rule, all those rules exclusively between the teams that you're arguing about. So if then you work out if team that come second or third and the team that comes second or third, you look at their own matches between each other and see who won that game and who scored the most, blah 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 blah. Obviously the team that scored the most would be the team that won it anyway, but so they apply that, and if it still doesn't sort it out, then you come to this order. Then they look at the superior goal difference in all the group matches, higher number of goals scored in all group matches, higher number of wins, lower disciplinary points total. This is the one that will actually probably end up sorting those problems out. And that is, you get 3 points for a red card, 1 point for a yellow card. Or if it's 2 yellow cards, that counts as 3 points in the same game. And so it comes down to disciplinary. And then if it's still equal, it comes down to the European qualifying rankings. So England will be all right.
Yeah, so we're miles up, aren't we?
Yeah, we're safe. We're safe. Okay. That's how they decide. But Wales are through anyway, aren't they? So that's good. Whether Switzerland are, we don't know. We do know that 2 teams are definitely out, and that is Turkey, who were our black horse. Whoops, as we said last time, what an embarrassment.
Dark horse.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. I was thinking of Lloyd's. So that was a slight error on our part, suggesting Turkey would be any good.
Any good, yeah.
And the other team that are out definitely are North Macedonia. There's a few teams definitely in. One is Italy. And let's start with Croatia, Czech Republic. Way back then, where there was 1-1, but virtually no goal mouth action. One team had a penalty. VAR steps in. Ref does take a look at the monitor and still gets it wrong. Felt like football's coming home, Kieran. Felt like football's coming home.
It was all in our favour.
Yeah, and that was definitely another incredible, boring game. And if anybody has got any idea which games they should have watched, well, they should have given Group D a complete miss, shouldn't they?
Indeed.
Have to say it goes down as the most boring of the groups out of the 6, surely, because even the Spain matches has been entertaining to watch and miss so many.
And even the Scotland's Czech Republic one, in which there was a halfway line goal, was pretty boring, wasn't it? So
that wasn't the most thrilling game in all the world.
are we going to move straight on to discussing England then?
We've got to, because it could end up taking a bit of time. Now, the question we have to ask is, do you want to just talk about it to start with, or shall I give you a few interesting facts about Harry Kane so far?
Go for a few facts so I can process what I'm going to say. It's probably a good thing that we're doing it now as opposed to Friday or Saturday. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have been a lot madder than I will be now.
Okay.
So, go for a few facts.
Let's get this clear. They're cracking jokes on the radio. Who would you prefer? Would you prefer Wales's number 9 or England's? Which one's the better player? And questions like that. I mean, for goodness sake. But in Kane's last 9 league games for Tottenham, he scored 7. But he has a problem with England. And England have a problem with Harry Kane. And this is the way it goes. Okay? Tournaments are very short. We cannot waste time waiting for Harry Kane to get it together. That would be my sentence. He isn't with it. And the most worrying part was his comment today saying, it's all right, I feel great, I'm fit, there is nothing to worry about. Well, at least if he was injured or got a cold or something, I'll think, oh, great, he'll get over it. But if he's telling us that's how he is, he's fine, and he played like that, that's worrying. I'd rather he was ill. I know that sounds a bit, but you know what I mean? And I say you've got to drop him before it's too late. We can't wait. We got 1 game left where even then, if we lose that, we can't afford to lose that. Because if we lose that game, what state are the team going to be in going into a knockout stage? We know that you've got to be with it when you get going. Okay, now I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to pick the team yet. We'll leave that in a minute. But here's your points. First of all, Kane definitely on both matches has been slow, sluggish, flat and leggy. Kane chases the ball because he feels he needs to run for it, because he has no confidence in the rest of the England team to give him the ball where he needs it. So he chases it. This obviously is my opinion. Okay. In the opposition's box, in 2 matches, he's had 6 touches of the ball. Now, we've played Croatia and Scotland. We haven't played Italy and we haven't played France. We've played Croatia and Scotland. He's touched the ball 6 times in the opposition's box. 3 shots, none on target. He's actually touched the ball less than any other starting player in the England lineup. There's only been 2 strikers in this competition that has touched the ball less. One is the Finland striker, Pukki, and the other is the Croatian striker. They're the only 2 that have touched the ball less than he has. Okay. Now, there's a couple of other little tiny points. One is the speed of England's attack. This is why I think Kane has been crap, all right? The speed of England's attack is recovering 0.96 meters per second. That's been the slowest in the tournament. Every other team are faster than England. We are the slowest team at the competition. for whatever reason. That's not necessarily bad, because Manchester City are very slow and only a frazzle faster at 1.02. But here's the problem. Foden and Sterling are used to playing slow football and messing around with it and not moving forward very fast. That isn't City's game, and that's how they play football. And then you've got Harry Kane, who plays fast football with Tottenham at 1.3 metres per second. He's not used to playing the same game that Foden and Sterling play. They are not playing Harry Kane's game. And for that reason, you drop either both of them or him, because you've got the striker and the attacking players playing different football. Okay? Now, I can go into a lot of different other things about touching the ball, the speed in which the ball moves forward, etc., and where he touches the ball, etc. But the fact is, you've got two different styles of football in your attacking lineup, and one needs to go.
I think it's very clear which one needs to go, and it's not Kane. You have to get rid of the City players.
Yeah.
I mean, because for one thing, I think the rest of the team, not even just Kane, will be used to quicker football than Sterling and Foden are used to. And also, in our just general England starting 11s, we wouldn't have either Foden or Sterling on the wings, would we?
No.
We would have Grealish and Sancho, or I would anyway. I'd have Grealish and Sancho, and if you're going to play Foden, you can play him as one of the attacking midfielders, which we probably should have done, because Rice and Phillips are not needed. Both of them are not needed. No. One of them is fine, and Rice is evidently that one. In regards to Kane, it's difficult because strikers go on 2-game, runs in which they don't score. That's absolutely fine, and I don't think the speed at which England are playing is necessarily his fault. However, he has looked mentally fatigued.
Do you think he's just pissed off with the way we're playing football?
I mean, that could be part of it. I also think is that he appears to be at the moment the only leader on that pitch. I don't understand if we've brought him to the tournament and that suggests that he's fit to play. Actually, two people, Maguire and Henderson, they're both captains for Man United and Liverpool. You can't tell me that, I mean, for one thing, they're both definitely better captains than Kane is. And for two, you need to have lots of leaders in your team. We see it with Wickham. We have our generals. Liverpool, Milner, Henderson, Van Dijk, Salah to an extent, Alisson. We have there's a lot of leaders in each team, and to be for a successful team, you need to have a lot of leaders. At the moment, Kane is supposedly the only leader on that pitch, and he's barely a leader anyway, in my opinion.
It's interesting because I've got me notes. I could hang that, nobody can read that. And I've actually put, we need leaders on the pitch. I've written my 4-3-3 team, okay? And I also put, let's make this clear. Right back and left back were told to hang back. Watch that match again. If you don't believe me, they did nothing wrong. You cannot pick fault with the left and right back. They were told to hang back. They did what they were asked. And I'm afraid that comes, and then when the ball went up to Sterling and Foden, never did they feed Harry Kane with anything. Never did. And he wasn't getting fed from the left or right because the fullbacks hung back. And I think, I mean, I worry about Kane because I worry about the team Twatface is picking. And I've written and I agree totally with your captains. We know, Wickham know how important it is. Remember, we've got the second youngest team. The other youngest team below us was Turkey, and they're out. You know,
there's a reason for it.
And here we are with a very young team with no captains on the pitch.
I think yeah, and also what you're saying about the fullbacks, I reckon you'll find that is part of the reason why, one, he didn't like Trent, because I imagine Trent probably went against what he said, and two, he doesn't want to play Chilwell, because I think generally a football fan can see, probably, in my opinion, that Chilwell is a better footballer than Luke Shaw is.
Yes.
And that definitely Kieran Trippier is at left back, as opposed to being a right back. And Chilwell hasn't played either game yet, and he didn't want to pick Trent. Whereas the other fullbacks evidently have a mindset where they will trust the manager and do what the manager says.
Well, not picking Trent for the team shows his mindset, what he doesn't like.
He wouldn't have picked Trent regardless.
He doesn't want him to attack.
No. And in modern football, it's not even just, these teams that we talk about, Liverpool, Man City. It's near enough all football teams use their fullbacks a lot for their attack.
How many teams play a system of 4 at the back in this competition? Is it 4, 3? And they're your little teams, not your big teams. Most teams play 5 at the back, attacking wing backs. Gareth Ainsworth has been left behind. Actually.
Southgate.
Sorry.
Ainsworth is.
I can say even Ainsworth played a back 5.
Yeah.
A back 4 is for when you're sort of, up against it, not when you're one of the favourites.
And you have a midfield block in front of it so that it can't get through. I mean, I think that was the most absurd decision out of them all, was sticking with Rice and Phillips. Like,
do you want to?
This was what my rant was about the other day when I talked about how Phillips I don't think was actually that good. Because did anyone mention his name on Friday? No. Like, was he even there?
I've picked a team, and because of it's difficult to tell, because of who he's taken, actually, I'm a bit stuck. So I have played a 4-3-3 for the next game. Okay. And I've picked Pickford because what choice have I got? And in all fairness,
he's done
all right.
He's done fine.
I'm still waiting for the shocker, but he's done all right so far.
To be fair, in all fairness to Pickford, he's never done a shocker for England. He may do it for Everton, but he's never done it for England.
That's right. Then I've put at the back, and this is working on the theory Maguire and Henderson are okay to play, even though they haven't. I would stick James, Maguire, Mings, and Chilwell in there. And Maguire because he's right-footed, which is why he has to.
Is that why you've left Mings in as well? Because he's left-footed.
Yeah, and so I'd take Stones.
In all fairness, I'd say Mings has probably been slightly better than Stones regardless.
Yeah, but that's why, because left and right foot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what some people don't think about, isn't it? But it does matter. And I've put James, Mings, Maguire, and Chilwell as the back line, and in the middle. And if Maguire can't, then it has to be Stones. And in the middle, I've put Mount, Bellingham, and Henderson.
Interesting, but I like it.
And if Henderson can't, I would then put in Phillips
in front of Rice.
Yeah. And then up front, I've got Sancho, Kane, and Grealish. Because I just cannot believe he's sat Sancho on a bench and playing Foden and playing Sterling. You've got to take the two City players out. They're too slow for Kane. It'd work if you had a different. You see, I wonder whether it'd work if you had Calvert-Lewin in there. But Kane isn't Calvert-Lewin. You can't just pick your so-called best players. You've got to pick a football team. And Luke Shaw and Sterling did not work.
No.
That was clear. That's clear. You can't have those two on the football pitch together. I mean, they never crossed the ball once. They never gave Kane the ball once, did they?
I think one of the things you have to say about the England team was that it was so pedestrian. Like, I can't think of anyone who did anything particularly right in the game. Not that they did anything wrong, but I can't think of anything they did right. Like, I know the problem is everyone was screaming out for him, and that probably definitely put too much pressure on him, and he was the only one who was actually trying to bring us forward towards the end. But Grealish, like, he was the only one who actually ran at people and actually tried to create stuff towards the end, but it was too little too late, and also the rest of the team wasn't playing on the same wavelength as him.
That's right. Can you imagine Chilwell, Bellingham, Sancho and Grealish on that football pitch? The speed in which things would move.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? We should be a speedy football team.
Yeah.
It'd almost help if we were a counter-attacking team, but we're not. We keep the ball day after day, year after year.
He's gone safe, and actually, as I said, the facts speak for themselves. And if anybody would like to look up all the, all the facts, football fact websites and all the Opta, etc., they will find we are the slowest football team in attack out of 24.
And we should be one of the quickest.
We're the slowest. How embarrassing is that? Finland attacked faster than England.
Even Spain, who are notoriously known.
Faster.
It's notoriously
Croatia
known
attack faster.
Yeah.
I mean, how embarrassing is that?
We've been led to believe that we have all these attacking-minded players who, frighten defenders, and yet we're the slowest.
Yeah.
How does that work?
And Kane is used to playing with a fast attacking. When they go for it, it moves. And he's used to then moving. And instead of which he's hanging around waiting and it never comes to him and it's just bunged around.
I mean,
it never comes to him. So he comes back for it. And it's just...
probably the reason for, him coming back for it is because of how slow it is. I mean, we have a go at him for going back to halfway line to try and create and get on the ball. But he has to do that to touch the ball at all. Yeah.
I wanted, when I started looking at this and looked at the facts and figures and so I wanted, like everybody, to say, blimey, Kane was rubbish because they gave him such little points and he was useless. But as useless is the word but it wasn't necessarily his fault. Could he really go from scoring 7 in the last 9 games, being the top goal scorer in the Football League, top passer in the Football League, to being absolutely crap in 2 games for England when he was the golden boot in the last competition? Could he really, or is there another reason? Well, look for that other reason. And that, I think, is where you find the answer. And I think you've only got to look at the coat Gareth wears, and I think that tells you about how exciting his football is going to be, doesn't it?
I mean, is it any surprise? It's only a surprise to us because of what we did in the last World Cup. One thing I just thought of, by the way, is that we played a back 5 in the last World Cup. But also, he's managed just Middlesbrough and teams like that throughout his career. He has no reason to be good.
And this is really picking on him, isn't it? The other thing that bothers me, I suppose, well, do you get the feeling that Jack Grealish and Mr. Manager don't hit it off?
It's kind of the impression you get.
And do you think he even considers the word entertainment? That England fans want to be entertained?
I would have thought that would be one of his main priorities, to be honest with you. Because that's what England was crying out for when we appointed him. Because we'd gone through the Hodgson era, we'd gone through the Capello era, where England just wasn't exciting and people weren't watching England as much. The first few qualifiers that Southgate was in charge for. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but no one was there because no one cared about England at the time because we'd just done nothing in the last few tournaments. He was brought in to be entertaining and exciting, and I don't know. Somehow, I guess he was in the qualifiers. Has he just changed his way of playing for just?
I don't know. He took a waistcoat off and put a raincoat on.
It's just
because see, he took in the last tournament. He took a young team in, and he was building it. Well, what happened to it?
Well, I mean,
because he's now got the youngest team again.
Yeah, he used that excuse in the last press conference, didn't he? He's like, there are teams at different stages compared to us.
Well, what happened to the 3 years ago? Have we not got any further?
I know.
Because everybody was saying how exciting this team was. We were taking. Well, it isn't exciting at all, is it? But anyway, do you have much more to say about that? Or let me ask this then. What are you expecting on Tuesday? Do you think he's going to just do the bore? Because I'm not expecting him to come out with all this team that I mean, I can't see this team.
Unfortunately, it's because Czech Republic is in the competition. I think he'll go pretty casual. Not casual, sorry, he'll go defensive as it has been so far this tournament. I think he'll be a 1-0, 1-0, 2-1. It won't be high scoring, but realistically, to get the fans back on side, he needs a really, really good performance. He needs Kane to score, and he needs at least 3 goals.
It does,
because if we have any aspiration of doing anything in this tournament, I think most people's aspirations have gone anyway because of that performance. But if we have any aspirations at all, we have to beat them at least 3-0.
I mean, you look at France, and even with their scoreline, you look at Germany, who were complete losers. I bet they're pretty excited now. You look at Holland, Netherlands. I mean, you look at Portugal, who actually got beat 4-2, but even so, they've still got it in them. You know they've got it there, but the only other team that are anything like England are Spain.
Yeah, and Spain are in their biggest dip in terms of the quality of their team that they have been for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, shall we just touch on one or two other games, or do we want to just leave it at that?
We should probably talk about the group of death, as it's called.
But
it was pretty exciting in there.
Let me just the games I've seen. Let me just do a 20-second summary of each of these games, and we talk about which ones you want. Sweden, Slovakia. Well, both of those teams are teams that play 4 at the back, I might add, and you have to say both again have been very naff. Interesting point. Swedish goalkeeper actually had most passes against Spain than any other player in his team. How about that? He gave the most passes in the team. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting fact. top passer in the team. Yeah, first 15 minutes, Sweden had the upper hand. 2 shots, only one on target. Slovakia good in the middle. Sweden just crossing, nothing happening, and what a drag that game was. We said about Croatia and Czech Republic. So I was glad when both of those games finished and I got to watch France versus Hungary. Did you watch France versus Hungary?
Saw bits of it, yep.
Well, didn't France look good? And I have to say, I've criticised Pogba before, and I'm quite happy to keep criticising Pogba. But I didn't think he had a bad game in that. I thought he was okay. Actually, he did his job. He is slow, I think, but he did his job, what he was in there for, as Mr. Kick it about and thump them. Griezmann, I like him. I do. I think he's good. I like Griezmann. I think he's excellent. And I thought, what's his name? Now I'm going to get this wrong. Benzema.
That'll do.
Yeah, I think he's the weak link.
Interesting, considering who's brought in to be the strong link.
Yeah. The reason that is, I think all the others are accurate. They get a chance, the chance happens. He needs 10 chances for one to come off. And he's just not accurate enough.
On the BBC website where let the fans do the ratings, he's come second bottom for France. So probably shows how much he impressed people.
Yeah. Well, they must be so used to quality, not quantity, whereas he's got the quantity of ball because of the quality of the other players.
I think people may look at this result and think, oh, are France not going to do as well as people thought? I don't think it really was that. I think I still think they played fine.
And Hungary were a bit lucky.
They were a bit lucky. They had the whole crowd behind them.
Yeah, I wrote down, well done, Hungary. You deserve a medal just for that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
I mean, blimey, no, I couldn't. That was one of those sort of where Wales hang on jobs, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think it's that big a deal.
No. Portugal, Germany, I have to say France are still look bloody good.
Yeah.
Portugal, Germany. First half, all Germany. Well, wasn't the second half. Portugal very unsettled by Germany's speed. Can we upset Portugal with our speed? One wonders. Portugal scored 3 by half time. 2 own goals.
2 OGs.
Yeah.
Trying to think whether they were avoidable own goals as well.
I think certainly one was.
One definitely was.
The first one.
Yeah, he didn't have to do that, did he? Second one, he had to stick a leg out, unfortunately.
And I wrote Germany's wing backs very high and very wide. And that worked. Portugal had trouble with that.
Yeah. I think that's shown to people as well that Germany are still about in this competition. Because people have kind of written them off because their team isn't kind of what it was before.
Well, I think I had. I think I had kind of written them off a little bit. But I mean, Havertz run the show, didn't he? He was extremely good. Yeah.
Gossens, who I, to be honest, had never really heard of before, was excellent as well. And Kimmich in the midfield, I love Kimmich. I think he's probably one of the best ball-playing CDMs in the world, to be fair, probably behind Kante. They have a very, very solid team. Whether they have enough kind of firepower to kind of overthrow a team like France, obviously they didn't last time, I'm not sure.
But they might. They got a chance, haven't they?
They might.
They got a chance.
I think it always probably does show that Portugal's weak point is their defence a little bit. And Ruben Diaz and Pepe as their centre backs. Pepe is
slow, and he's about 36, is he?
Yeah, he's very old.
Very old.
I know. Yeah. Well, if you're having to play Pepe as one of your main centre backs, then it's not always the best thing to do. And Ruben Diaz, towards the end of the season, was definitely out of form, even though he won the Premier League Player of the Year, which I still think was absurd.
Yeah.
But he was out of form, definitely. And also Bruno Fernandes, once again, didn't do anything, did he?
Yeah, didn't hear his name mentioned, did we?
No, not at all. He's near the bottom of this.
Yeah, he does not turn up to games, does he? I mean, it's all well and fine beating, when he plays for United, it's all well and fine scoring a few free kicks against Crystal Palace. But you want him to beat Liverpool. So where is he?
He just doesn't show up, does he? I mean, I don't know whether that's down to him, down to the way teams set up in those sort of games. I mean, it is commonly known that in big games, attacking midfielders kind of go under the radar, but to not do anything at all I don't know how many big games he's played in, but he doesn't shine in any of them.
Well, it got to half time, and I actually had to look up to see whether he was on the pitch on my phone. So I thought, well, surely he's playing, isn't he? And I had to actually look up his name to find out.
Yeah.
Because it hadn't been mentioned.
I mean, probably last thing, from a selfish point of view, it's good to see that Jota is doing very well on the international stage in a big game as well. Got an assist in the goal.
Yeah, he did turn up a bit, didn't he? Yeah, he did turn up a bit in that.
Ronaldo, not so much, didn't do too much that game, did he?
No.
Hooked it back well for the second goal.
Yeah.
And I think the Portugal they went into the mode where they were like, oh, let's give it to Ronaldo and he'll do something towards the end. They kind of went into that mode.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that. As much as, you want to be able to do that, you can't just say, oh, let's give the best player in the world the ball.
Yeah, and I often wonder about all the other players on that pitch, their mindset with that as well. It must be, and I mean, the same applies with Wales, of course, with Bale. But when you've obviously got an outstanding player on the pitch, how much, whether you're scared because he's so good and you're not, whether you always want to give him the ball, expect him to win it for you, and all that, it definitely must change things slightly. Spain versus Poland. God, I wrote Spain, lots of wasted passing, and then the Poland went. In other words, Spain, I wrote, this is going to be tough. And that was at half time. I could not see Spain doing very well. But the reason I thought was, looking at it from Poland's point of view, they just kept coming in, never going out. All the players always moved in from the two sides toward goal. It never went out and then in. All the play you and I looked and I found out that the Spain's right footer is on the left and their left-footed player was on the right. And that's how they played. And so they were so predictable in always trying to cut in. And Poland had obviously been well taught and knowing what to expect and got them every time. I thought Spain were desperate. Neither team put chances away other than one each.
It's interesting just looking at Spain's lineup, because I know you don't want to take too much away for it, as we know of England with giving Grealish the number 7. But you do have a look at the numbers they give to players, because most of the time it does give an indication of what their starting lineup should be. 5 of the first 11 were on the bench: De Gea, Azpilicueta, Llorente, Thiago, and Ferran Torres. Thiago didn't come on
No, they've made comments about that a couple of times now.
He only came on late in the last game as well, and I mean, I'm probably
He
going to be
doesn't like
biased.
playing wide players, does he?
No, I'm probably going to be biased in saying that I think Thiago's probably their best player, but I don't see anyone else who could potentially be that.
No.
So
No,
it
it's very
is interesting,
strange.
the manager's mindset. As for the Cuesta and Ferran Torres as well, I would have thought have to be starters. I don't know whether the Spain manager just watches Spanish football, because that is who he's starting. All the players from the Spanish league. He's not playing Torres, who we've seen for City as a really good finisher. And Thiago is obviously, we know what he can do. So, I don't know. It seems that they shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. I'd totally agree with that. Just on this idea of on the left or the right, and going a little bit back to Kane, I did want to say this, so I'll drop it in now, even though it's completely out of context. And then we'll just sort of come up with our scores for the next few games. Kane has received his passes from the left-hand side. He had 5. After the 2 games, he had 5 from Luke Shaw, 4 from Sterling, 4 from Trippier, 3 from James, 3 from Foden, 3 from Phillips, 2 from Mings, 2 from Mount, 2 from Stones, 2 from Rice, and 1 from Walker. So he actually receives most of the balls from the left. I don't know whether that makes a blind bit of difference, other than predictable and what's wrong with the other side.
It's probably a bit more difficult from that side for Kane. If it's on the floor, at least, 'cause if he's right-footed, he kind of has to open his body up and try and place it. It's probably a little bit more difficult.
Right.
But
right. Okay, then. Next games. Let's have our... Right. Well, before, while I'm looking up, name this for me. Players who stand out, just make comment. Players who stand out for their international teams. Are they dangerous to sign based on their international form?
Certainly.
Because that's been done a number of times. And then I wonder, you reckon that's a dodgy thing to do?
I mean, the one that sprang to mind instantly was James Rodriguez, who now plays for Everton, but in the 2014 World Cup looks as if he was the best player in the world, kind of thing. And Real Madrid signed him for 80 million when it definitely wasn't worth it.
Right. Because there's been a few that you think, oh, he looks good, and I've never heard of him before.
I mean, Shaqiri looks insane for Switzerland.
He
scored 2 goals today.
Great
it was just
goals,
like,
weren't they? Great.
Yeah, they were fantastic. And you're like, well, he didn't do that for Liverpool. I know it's a different system, etc.
Yeah, but he never played. And he was always injured.
Didn't play it. Yeah, this is also true. But he is definitely better for Switzerland than he is for his club, whether that's Liverpool or Stoke, whoever it was, Barca. Barca, Bayern.
Yeah. Right. Okay, here we go then. Shall I read them out?
Next fixtures.
Yeah. We got Group B. Finland against Belgium.
Belgium are already through, aren't they? But you still have to assume that they're going to beat Finland.
No team wants to lose.
No. 2-0. I think they'll probably hold themselves back a little bit, but enough to score 2.
Damn. I think you got that one. I can't see any other score. I'm going to have to go 3-0. I can't see Finland scoring a goal.
No.
Russia, Denmark. Now, there's an interesting one. Because can't they both... Finland can still get through, actually, can't they?
Yeah. Let's have a look at the table quickly. So it's Belgium on 6, Russia on 3, Finland on 3, and Denmark on 0. So if Russia win, or if Russia draw, really, then they're definitely through. I reckon it might be a draw. I'll say 1-1.
1-1. Well, I think Russia are going to win that 2-1. And I think Russia have improved from first to second game. And I think they'll improve second to third. And I think Denmark's heads will go down.
I mean, they're effectively out anyway, Denmark.
Yeah.
Near enough.
Yeah.
So we're saying that it'll be Belgium and Russia in the next round, and Finland have to wait and see. But I imagine they'll probably be out if they're on 3 points.
Yeah.
It's like today, Switzerland are probably through. The break off is 4 and 3, isn't it? If you get 4, then you're more than likely through. 3.
Well, we have better hope, eh?
Yeah.
Well, North Macedonia, Netherlands. Group C.
Well, they have nothing to lose, North Macedonia, and the sort of team that will just fly out of the blocks and go for it.
Yeah. What's the table like?
So 6 for Netherlands, 3 for Ukraine, 3 for Austria, and 0 for North Macedonia. I reckon 2-2.
2-2?
Yeah, I reckon North Macedonia will just go for it.
I'm glad you said that. So I'm going to go 2-0 to the Netherlands. I might win that one then. And Ukraine, Austria?
This is the decider, isn't it? I think Ukraine just have a bit too much more than Austria do. So I'm going to say 1-0.
Right,
so what are you going to say?
I keep having to scribble it off because that's what you said.
Oh.
I like.
You can say yours first if you want.
I think you. No. I'm still in front. Ukraine versus Austria. I like Ukraine. I think they've looked good. And so I'll make that one 2-0 or 2-1. 2-1 because I like the bloke at the back. I think they might push him up a bit. And then we've got Tuesdays, and there's only one game, isn't there? Oh no.
Well, there'll be Scotland and Croatia as well.
Yeah, of course. Croatia, Scotland.
I mean, on form, I'd say draw and quality of player. But I just do kind of want Scotland to win. I think it'd be fun to see them in the next round. 2-1 Scotland. They haven't scored yet at the tournament, have they?
That's why I'm going 0-0.
They do very well.
I can't see either scoring again.
No.
And last but not least, Czech Republic versus England.
1-0 England.
You're going to risk England winning? Blimey. God dear, oh dear. Now, if I wasn't biased, let's take my biastry off and put my biastry over here. Okay. Crap versus crap. We can score. I'm going to put 2-0 to England. Our fullbacks have done all right. Our defence has been all right. And he must look at sorting it out. He cannot surely put his head in his hands and crawl under a carpet as the manager.
You can't look at the performance the other day and be like, yeah, we'll do that again. That'll work.
Because if he puts that team out, and we had Rashford and etc., if he has any clue about football, surely. And I tell you what, if England go onto that football pitch and do not win, as we've said, He has got to go.
Can't get rid of him now, though, can you? It would be fun for him to go now, but you won't.
Give Henderson the job for a while.
Can you imagine? Give it Ainsworth for the tournament.
Yeah. Then it's Gareth. You know, it's still Gareth.
He'll call up Ikweazu because stuff it.
Yeah, he'll be straight up there. Yeah.
I'm not even sure he's English, to be honest. Of course, he's
not
English.
Is he?
No, who's English? Matt Bloomfield's bringing
Mind
up.
you, what difference does that make nowadays? I mean, you know, it just seems that as long as you were born somewhere, you can play for who you like. I don't quite know what the rules are, but that seems to be. You certainly don't have to be born in that country or ever step foot in it, I don't think.
If your grandma's Spanish, then you're Spanish, aren't you?
Yeah, I might be Saxon or so I'm English, or Roman, in which case I'm Italian, but I haven't had a call.
No.
Right.
Insane, that, isn't it?
Oh, mad. I'm waiting. Yeah. Of course, it might be Viking. Ireland. That's the hairdo. See?
Yeah.
Right. And with that, then we'll say goodbye. Kieran, what is it in French? Any idea?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Kieran.
Is it?
Bye bye.
Well, I could just fake the Russian here, say goodbye, but I'm not going to because I'm not going to sort that out. So
you'll say goodbye normally.
Goodbye normally. Yes.
Nice.
So Kieran, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from him.
From him, not you.
No. Well, me as well.